Hello everybody. How are you? I don't know how to start this properly, but alright. It's so funny because I run through the dialogue before because I get so nervous doing these live videos, and then when it gets to the actual video, I'm like, I don't know what to say. So how do I word this? Mental health issues do suck, and they are a real thing. And yeah, they are a real thing. And it's hard to talk about. It really, really is hard to talk about. So I guess today where my head was heading, where I was going in my head was that I'm going to talk about things that I struggle with. Just to show you, I guess, or just to talk or share a bit of vulnerability now that I'm, slowly getting more confident with these videos. And also just to open up the discussion about mental health and things that are going on with me and things that maybe you guys can relate to or might prompt you guys to share for yourselves. So what do I struggle with? I struggle with, unless I've got work or somewhere to go where someone's counting on me, I struggle to get out of bed in the morning. I struggle to brush my teeth consistently. I struggle to do the dishes. I struggle to maintain my house sometimes. I do the best that I can, and it's everybody struggles with these things sometimes, but it's a consistent thing. I struggle to stay focused, and this is going to get into the topic of diagnoses and assessments and things like that, of mental health conditions and other kind of conditions. I recently went through the process with a friend of getting diagnosed with ADHD. I haven't gone through the process myself, as in I'm not diagnosed yet. I am on a wait list, as we all know. As for those who've gone through the process, there is wait lists that you have to wait on to get diagnosed with these things. But I supported a friend of mine who is like family to me, and we went through the process of being diagnosed with ADHD, and it's a tough process to go through because it's not as tough as it could have been. We'd found a route that was one of the easiest options, but it's interesting to notice things in myself that I've noticed in other people who have been diagnosed and things. Like, I really struggle to stay focused on activities. Like, I struggle to complete tasks. I don't like to sit still normally. Even sitting still to do these lives is tough for me. But I found something interesting last night. It's interesting how our phones pick up on things that we often talk about, and there was a thing that popped up, I think it was on Facebook or something, about the concept of different noises that are out there. Now, I didn't know that there was a thing. I knew that there was a thing called white noise. I did not know that there was a thing called brown noise, pink noise, and I think it was red noise. Never heard of those things before. And this video clip was going into the concept that sometimes brown noise can calm an ADHD brain. So I gave it a go, and it was a very interesting experience. It definitely calmed my brain enough to put me to sleep last night. So I'm not saying it's a solution. Different things work for different people. And like today, driving, I tried to put it on and it just did not work. It made me feel a bit queasy while driving. But yeah, if you struggle to focus and white noise doesn't seem to help, or it slightly helps but doesn't help enough, and it doesn't have to be if you believe you've got ADHD or anything like that, give different types of noises a go. There's brown noise, pink noise, red noise, and white noise. Now, apparently white noise is a combination of different frequencies and doesn't maintain a particular sound, and is often recorded where it's a continuous sound like rain, for example, but that there's different lapses of different sounds amongst it. So it's like, I know, rain changes the speed, the speed of rain changes, the speed of wind changes, all that kind of stuff. Brown noise is the low side of the sounds. So, and that's a continuous sound. It's not it doesn't change. It's just a continuous low end of the sounds. And then pink noise is more of the high frequency, still like white noise, and it is still natural noises and stuff, but pink noise is more of the higher ends of things. And if you look on YouTube, a lot of these pink noises are recommended for like calming babies' sleep. Like if babies are struggling to sleep and stuff, there's a lot of pink noise soundtracks that and I think the difference is with pink noise is that it's a louder volume naturally, and it kind of drowns out surrounding sounds, whereas brown noise, it's more of the lower end of sounds where it like if there's people talking in the background, but even people talking in the background is more white noise. But look it up, see it for yourself. It's a very unique experience to listen to. I did not know, and it was really interesting for me to find that out. And I I actually got distracted by just reading the comments on the YouTube clips rather than actually sitting and listening to the sound. But I'll get there. What's another thing? All right, another thing I struggle with is depressive episodes. So again, part of the reason why I struggle to get out of bed, struggle to maintain self-care and things like that are what I believe, and what I've spoken to medical professions and stuff like that, we believe it's like depressive episodes. I don't know if it's depression overall, and it's a sucky feeling for anyone who's experienced it. It's not consistent. It doesn't have consistent symptoms, except for the concept that you kind of have a cloud that kind of hangs on your head. And you do not feel like doing anything. One therapist of mine suggested, and I don't know if this will help anyone, and it hasn't really helped me, but it is something that in certain situations it has helped me. And now this will go on to the next topic I'll talk about in a minute. But basically with depression or depressive episodes, sometimes you don't feel like doing something, and if you maintain not doing what you don't feel like doing, it actually then is detrimental to your physical and mental health. So a therapist suggested to me that you actually do it. If you think about, I should probably do my teeth, but I don't really feel like doing it, just do it. And that's, it's harder to do than people might perceive it is. And you might even think you're being lazy, or you're not, being productive or whatever, but it is tough, just that's why I think it was yesterday or the other day I was thinking about the concept of talking to you about the concept of the 5-second rule, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, get out of bed. We do, on a normal day-to-day basis, struggle to do certain things, not because of mental health, but purely because of lack of motivation. That isn't related to mental health. But the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method definitely might help in this regard, where you just think of something and you just do not feel like doing it, whether it be because of depression, because it be anxiety, could be anything. Just do it. And this is leading on to the next topic. I think I read somewhere else about the concept that fear is a massive inhibitor to a lot of people's success, or a lot of people's motivation or drive to do things. And often fear or uncomfortability is the reason why. I didn't realize there's so many people watching. That's cool. Hi, everyone. There's a lot of fear is something that stops us from doing things, and we definitely let fear control a lot of our actions and decisions, and whether it be conscious or unconscious, it is definitely a prominent part of what inhibits us from doing things that we might want to do or not want to do. So yeah, I learnt again, similar to what my therapist had suggested for in relation to depression and lack of motivation and things like that. Fear, if you think about something that you fear, or something that you don't want to do, think about why you don't want to do it. If it's related to fear, and if it's not a fear related to your survival as such, where like obviously if you don't want to walk out in the middle of the night at 2 a.m. because your suburb is dodgy, then fair enough. Like that's a legitimate thing. I get that. But if it's, say, I fear, like, I don't want to do this live today, for example, because I'm scared about what people will think of me when I talk to them about what I'm struggling with. Just do it. Go against that uncomfortability a little bit, because without being uncomfortable, you're not going to grow. If you stay in your comfort zone like your whole life, you're not gonna, like if you think about baby birds, for example, mothers kind of push them out of the nest when they believe they're ready to fly, or when they want to test their flight things. That's part of nature. I'm not saying jump off out of a nest, but it is going to be uncomfortable to fly and to learn how to fly. And without doing that, without stepping slightly out of your comfort zone, you're not going to know what you might become confident or comfortable in. And I wish I could find the video clip where I saw this. But it was definitely about something about you usually fear or uncomfortability is to do with the concept that you are unfamiliar with that action, or unfamiliar with how that new thing is going to feel, do, what the consequences are going to be, whatever the case may be. It's something that you're unfamiliar with, and you're not going to become familiar with it if you don't try it. And if you try it and you're familiar with it, then you'll gain the confidence, and you'll learn that it might not be as scary as it actually is. And our brains have a brilliant capability of making things a lot bigger than they actually are, and a lot smaller than they might be. But usually it's the other way, where they're a lot bigger than it actually is. So stepping outside of the house, you aren't going to get knocked over by the wind. Or I go on live, yeah, sure, I might be judged, but the people who care about me the most or whatever will support me and things like that. And if they judge me, they judge me. But it's not that big of a deal. And I mean, it might feel like it's a big of a deal, and that's true. Like, I'm not dismissing the feeling. Like, make sure that you acknowledge your feeling of, I'm scared to do this, I'm nervous to do this, or whatever the case may be. Don't dismiss your feelings, don't suppress your feelings, but step into that discomfort a little bit. Step into what that is, because you're not going to grow otherwise. And think about it. Well, another thing, making new friends. I really, really, really struggle to maintain or build friendships. Like, that's something I've consistently it's been a massive challenge. I don't know why. I don't specifically know why. I'm still learning why that's a challenge for me, whether it be a biological thing where I'm not able to read social cues as much, or I'm very honest and upfront with however I'm feeling and doing, and sometimes that can be intimidating for people. I might have a bit of social anxiety, so that might contribute to the concept that I'm either overcompensate and become too strong, too strong of a personality to be around, or the opposite, where I don't contribute enough to conversation or listen as much, or whatever the case may be. I am still learning about that. But sometimes when I have that anxiety or fear of going to a social event, sometimes, like for me, planning social events, I love planning social events for other people. And I sometimes enjoy like running events where the focus is on everyone else but me, like birthday events, all that sort of stuff. If I could be a wedding planner or whatever, I would do that, because it means the attention is on everyone else but me. But sometimes, like I think it was a couple of weekends ago, I was so nervous attending some of these events that I'd, planned. And I normally spend pretty much the whole day procrastinating everything, because all my emotional energy is consumed with thinking about what I'm going to say, what I'm going to do, when should I leave, how long should I spend there, what are people going to think of me, what should I wear, what should I do, so much overthinking around social interactions that when it actually gets to the event, firstly, I'm emotionally drained. So by the end of the event, I get home and I'm like, oh my goodness, that was such a shit event, or a emotionally draining event. But that's not the case. It was all the thinking and all the stress leading up to that event, so that I didn't actually enjoy the event as much as I could have. And it wasn't as bad as I thought it was. So, and once I've engaged in that social event, I am familiar with it now. So after that, I go back and I go, oh, okay, it wasn't as bad. I don't have as much stress associated with going back to that particular event, or going back to that social group, or engaging on a date, or whatever the case may be. It is something that still causes me stress, but I'm beginning to be a lot more comfortable doing it, because I push myself to attend those kind of things to get over the unfamiliar feeling or experience of attending that kind of social event. So, moral of the story, I guess, is step into that discomfort. Not so much where you actually cause yourself a panic attack or anything like that. Obviously, look after yourself in that regard, but try things that are new. Here we go. Here's a challenge or a question to ask you guys. What have you done new today? What have you tried? When was the last time that you have tried a new experience or a new something new, something unfamiliar? What has been something that you've done unfamiliar? I'm trying to think of something I haven't done today. I think it was I messaged someone new about, I think it was about, I reached out or responded to someone about the concept of going to see a house or something to move in together, or something along those lines. What was another thing I did? That wasn't new, but it was that was uncomfortable. I emailed someone related to my business to get information for marketing reasons. So that was pretty interesting and slightly nerve-wracking. It was uncomfortable to do, but I did it. And And I guess the overall thing that we need to focus on without like to decrease overthinking or decrease uncomfortability to an extent of trying something new is do one thing at a time. Literally, just complete one thing at a time. It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be a zillion things. Like today, I was like, oh my goodness, I've had such a shit day today. Like I've not done, as much as I wanted to do. I had the whole day off of work today, but I still didn't do as much as I wanted to. My house is a mess, rah, rah, rah. My head started spiraling. And I was like, okay, step back a minute. What did I do that was productive today? What did I complete? Well, I messaged that person. I replied to that person. I went to the bank and put money into the bank account. I completed these things. I sent off a document, So what is it that if you start spiraling, if you start overthinking, if you start questioning yourself, if you start getting stuck, step back a little bit and go, okay, what have I done that I'm maybe oppose your thinking somehow. I think I was listening to another person talk about the concept that I saw this video on TikTok or something about the concept of telling children what not to do, right? And it's like, and they compared it to the concept that in helicopter or plane pilot training, if a pilot instructor tells the pilot trainee or whatever that to avoid that obstacle, right, their brain is instantly going to run into that obstacle, because even though they're trying to avoid it, their focus is on the obstacle rather than something else. So if you're telling a child what not to do, for example, it's like that's what they're going to do, because that's the sole focus of their brain when you've told them what not to do. So if you're telling yourself don't overthink, you're going to overthink. If you tell yourself don't feel shit about yourself, or don't feel crap about yourself, or don't feel unproductive, if you're telling your brain what not to do, you're not going to ever achieve anything. Like, you're just going to keep spiraling. You're going to keep doing exactly what you're telling yourself not to do, instead of finding the opposite. And I think maybe later today, when my brain is less buzzy or whatever the case may be, I don't know, maybe in another video I was thinking that I could sit down and maybe I'll schedule it so that you guys know it's happening. And what I'll do is I will sit with you and we'll go through writing down some things in our brain and then trying to oppose it and action it. Maybe not action it then and there, but say, for example, I can't clean the house. Instead, you write, I can clean the house. Or I look terrible. And you can say, I look amazing. Or even if we went as simple as, let's think about all the negative words that's in our brain right now. Write them all down. And then let's find opposite words. And we just spend time finding opposite words. And we can share it and we can do whatever it is. I'll figure it out. I'll come up with a plan. I'm not making promises, because that's another thing I struggle with as well, is fulfilling these kind of commitments, but I'll do my best. I might schedule something like that, and I'll do it with you, and I'll write down all the negative things in my head, or all words that I can think of that are negative, and then I'll oppose each of them. I'll pull up a dictionary, I'll pull up a thesaurus, and I'll find as many positive words as possible to oppose those negative words. And then we fill our brains with positivity. So, we'll see. As you can see, my brain is just everywhere today. And it is uncomfortable to talk about things that I'm struggling with, or or mental health in general, because it is definitely a topic that is not discussed well enough, and is also something that you know, I haven't grown up in an environment that we can openly talk about our feelings consistently, or even be able to acknowledge our feelings properly. So, yeah, we're getting there. We are getting there. So, I've got other ideas for other videos. I think, what was the other idea I was having? Maybe you can answer this in here. I'll think up an answer to it for maybe another video. But my next question, if you've gotten this far in the video, is what is your most embarrassing story or most embarrassing moment, or think of any sort of embarrassing thing that has occurred to you and let me know. Let's laugh about it together or acknowledge it together, whatever kind of experience that may bring up for you. Let's acknowledge it together in whatever way. So I haven't thought of mine yet, so I don't expect an answer right now, but you can answer however you like. I appreciate for those who have been watching. Let me know if you're still on. I think Melissa is still on, so hello. Thank you very much for commenting and acknowledging in almost all my videos, so I appreciate that. There's no expectation for anyone to comment on any of my videos. I appreciate just you watching them. You don't have to acknowledge them, but I appreciate the support from you, Melissa. And I can see that I think Steve, Jacob, and Chris were watching, but I'm not sure if they and Sierra was watching as well. But if you guys are still on, give me a wave or say hi. Either way, I would love to know how you guys are doing, especially because it's Tuesday. Some people here in WA had a public holiday yesterday, so it would be cool to know what you did. I worked as per usual. Public holidays don't really affect me or change anything for me. I still run my events. Public holidays, weekends aren't really relevant to me. I kind of sometimes forget what day it is because I work any and every day. Pretty flexible like that. But yeah, so I cannot think of anything else that's on my brain at the moment. I appreciate you guys staying on and watching. Let me know if there's any topics you want to discuss. I probably didn't touch on mental health as much as I'd wanted to, as much as my brain had rehearsed it, but I think it's been enough to open discussion if you feel comfortable discussing it, and let me know if there's anything you've taken from this. Try some techniques. Oh, and that's right, I will post about my hearts. I did do my Find My Hearts today. I made an effort to step outside and look for them, and I even found one on my chopping board after I peeled my orange, so I will share it in the comments, and I'll also do a post about my heart challenge and see what you guys committed to this week. It would be really interesting to see how you guys are going with that challenge. So anyway, I think I'll wrap up now. I appreciate you guys watching, and let me know how you're doing. I am an inbox or message away if you want to check in with me. I'm totally okay with that, whether or not you're my Facebook friend or not. Feel free to message me at all, because I know these videos are also public, so anyone out in the public that are watching these, feel free to message me as well. Yeah, I'll stay in touch. Thank you very much. See you. Bye.